Taking the tram is the convenient way to get atop Mount Mtatsminda. Hi, I'm Matt, and welcome to another edition of Borders on Budgets. For this show, we will hike up Mount Mtatsminda and get an aerial view of Tbilisi, Georgia. The tram taking visitors to atop Tbilisi crosses the Kura River and over the Old Town of Georgia's capital. The goal of this urban hike is to reach Narikala Fortress, which is on top of Mount Mtatsminda. And Mount Mtatsminda overlooks the old city and all of Tbilisi. A pleasant surprise for visitors to Tbilisi is discovering the multitude of architecture and architectural styles this city has, from modern skyscrapers and buildings to 18th and 19th century buildings, and still unfortunately a plethora of Soviet style apartment blocks. Here in the Old Town, it has maintained its charm through its architecture and its brick-paved roads. Halfway up Mount Mtatsminda, and this urban hike isn't as difficult as what was suggested. I take back that last comment. This little portion of Mount Mtatsminda is a little bit more steeper than the first half. This'll teach me for not doing a morning stretch, or at the very least, not having a second cup of coffee. See, I told you this is a steep part of the mountain. You know, certainly an opportune place to set up a fruit stand. Definitely much more colorful than just selling Cokes and other soft drinks. Upon reaching near the top of Mount Mtatsminda is the 4th century cathedral, St. Nicholas. For the magnificence of this architecture, during the 4th century they forgot to put in handrails. Passing St. Nicholas, coming into full view is Narikala Fortress, as the fortress does overlook the city of Tbilisi. I'd like to make a correction. I said that St. Nicholas was constructed in the 4th century. In fact, it was constructed in the 5th century. However, I am not going to do a retake and escalate those stairs again. While that looks fun, I don't think that is part of the route to actually climb Narikala Fortress. From the fortress's turret, where they say "En garde," to Tbilisi's newest architecture, which would be quite avant-garde. Sorry, that's the best I could do. Crossing the river Kura is the Bridge of Peace. Adjacent to it is a cultural center. However, money for its construction ran out in 2012, and it stands as a monument to unfinished architecture. On a day when the weather was off and on, to have reached the top of Mount Mtatsminda when the sun is at full blaze, the architecture and the splendor of Tbilisi is on full display. In the foreground is the Dome of St. Nicholas. There's the river Kura again, and across the river are owners of buildings who have complete faith in their architects and engineers. How do I get to the tram?
Maybe you can fall or fly. I don't know.
Fly.
So there's nothing over this wall?
Fly, you can do it.
Yeah, fly.
Well, let's
You can try with your.
So the tram isn't accessible from the fortress. Oh well. I'm glad I heeded the advice of those Italian tourists. Taking this route to the tram seems to be a little bit more peaceful and harmonious rather than directly from the fortress. Well, this is the terminus of the tram reaching Mount Mtatsminda. It would seem natural that this would be the ending point for the story as well. However, please indulge me. There is one more stop along this route that I would like to show. I would be remiss if it wasn't included in this story. While this isn't the most flattering of angles, this monument atop Mount Mtatsminda is the mother of Georgia. She holds two objects in her hands. In her left hand, she holds a goblet of wine to welcome friends. In her right hand, she holds a sword to wield off enemies, or so I've been told. Thank you for tuning in to another edition of Borders on Budgets. A reminder, Borders on Budgets, long distance hikes, slices of life, not a lot of money. From atop Tbilisi, Georgia, thank you for tuning in, and we'll see you on the next episode. Here's a better photo of the mother of Georgia. I thought she deserved more reverence than what I gave her during my final stand-up.